To get started, let's make sure you've got access to Microsoft Teams. Teams is available on Windows, Mac, phone and tablet. For the best overall experience, I recommend that you use Teams on your desktop or laptop computer, and that version is known as Teams Desktop. On Windows computers, Teams may already be installed by your administrator, and you can check whether you have it already by choosing the Windows button and then just typing Teams. And you should see that purple Teams app come up. On a Mac, just go to Finder and look in your applications list. Now, if you don't see it and it's not installed, you can just open up a browser and search for Download Microsoft Teams. And you can choose to download for desktop. We're going to focus on Teams for work. So if you're asked which one you'd prefer to download, always choose work or school. Now open the file it downloads and run through the installation. Now this process is pretty much the same if you run it from the Mac, but the name of the file that's downloaded is different. Once Teams is ready, you'll be asked to sign in. Teams only works when it's connected to the internet and you're signed in. So sign in with your work email address and password and you're ready to go. If it's not possible to install Teams on the computer you're using, you can also use it in almost any modern browser. This is not always the best experience, particularly if you're in a meeting, but it does do the job in most situations. To get to the browser version of Teams, just open up a browser and type office.com into the address bar. You'll be asked to log in and you just use your work email address and password. You land on the Office homepage and you can start Teams from this bar on the left-hand side. Or you can go to the waffle button where you'll see all your apps. And finally, there are great versions of Teams on Android, iOS and iPadOS, so you can use Teams on your phone and tablet. Just go to the App Store for the device you're using and search for Microsoft Teams, and log in with your work username and password. We're going to look at how to navigate the Teams desktop app. First, let's start with this bar running along the top. On the far left, we have these back and forward buttons. Just like in a browser, you can move to the next and the previous pages with these arrows. Next to the right, we have the trusty search bar. This is always here wherever you go in Teams. It's a good friend when you're new to the app. Just type in a keyword here and it will return the relevant people, messages and files that it finds. Further along, we have this ellipsis. Now this is where you can change your settings to customize how Teams looks and works. You can also zoom here. You use the plus or minus button to change the size of what you see. So this is really handy if you've got a big monitor. And then next to that is the presence indicator. This is how you show up in Teams to everybody else. You can choose to add your picture here if you don't see one already, and you can set your availability too. For example, here I'm set to available. Other people using Teams will see that and assume that I can be contacted. If I'd prefer that they didn't, I could always switch to do not disturb. Next, we have this bar down the left-hand side. These are all the apps available to us. Now, as you click through them, you'll see the near and the far right panels changing according to which app you're in. You can drag these apps up and down the bar and place them where you'd prefer. And you can unpin them to remove the ones that you don't use. Now, some of these apps you're going to see you're able to pop out the window so they are separate from the main app. And this is really useful with things like chat. For example, I can take this chat with Polly, right click it and pop it out into a new window. And then you can have many windows open at the same time to make it easier to switch between them as you work. And finally, the ellipsis here allows you to add more apps to Teams. Microsoft have lots more apps that you can add, and other developers can make their own too. Chatting is a key part of Teams and something you'll use all the time. it allows you to chat with anyone who's using Teams. You'll find the chat app on the left-hand bar, and it shows you a list of all your previous chats. Choose a person from that list and you'll see the chat appear on the right-hand side. To start a new chat, I choose the New Chat button, or I could use Ctrl N on my keyboard. Now I can start typing the name of the person I want to chat with, so I'll add Polly. Now I'm ready to start. I go to the box at the bottom and I type a message, and then choose Send. If you'd prefer to be more formal with your message, you can also choose the Format button that will bring up a formatting toolbar. And from here, it's possible to change the font sizes and styles and drop in things like bullets, links, and tables too. You can also add a priority, attach files, and emojis, GIFs, and stickers. Now, when Polly replies, I can react with an emoji. Every reply has a reaction toolbar. I just hover over it and I can choose one. I can also reply to a specific message by choosing the ellipsis and then reply. And this is really handy if you need to be clear about which message it is that you're replying to. In the panel on the left, you'll now see a card for that new chat. And you can see my chat here with Polly. This is the way you can come back to a chat anytime you like. If I want to pop this chat out into a new window, I can use the pop out button here. And this is handy if I want to keep Polly's chat open while I do other things in Teams. Now, because Polly's chat is one that I'll be using regularly, I can also pin it. I just right click that chat card and choose Pin. And this will put that chat to the top of my list so it's easier to find. You can filter this list by name by choosing the filter button. If I type Polly's name, it will only show me the items with Polly in them. And I can choose the ellipsis here and filter by chat. And now I'm only seeing the chats that I'm currently in with Polly. And I can use the X to clear the filter. Another tip for finding your chats is to use the search bar at the top. Type the name of the person you want to chat with into search, and it will make suggestions based on what you type. Choosing that person will take you to the chat that you're having with them, and you can do this from wherever you are in Teams. As well as text message, you can share files during a chat. Just go to the message box and choose the Attach Files button. When I do this in my chat with Polly, it prompts me to choose where to get the file from. And that's either from OneDrive or I can upload it from my computer. OneDrive is my personal space on Microsoft 365. It's where I store all my files. When I choose that, it shows me all the folders and files. And I can choose the PowerPoint slide deck I want to share with Polly. I can use the Shift key or just drag my mouse to select more than one file, and it will add a card for each file to the message box. And then I press Send to post the message and share those files with Polly. Note that when I post a file here, it's a link to the original file, which is in my OneDrive. It's not a new version of that file. Any changes I make to it here will be made to the file in my OneDrive. I could also choose to upload the file from my computer. Now when I do that, it asks me to go find the file, and I can choose one or more if I need to. Those files are uploaded into the chat, and this time when we make changes to those files, the original files on my computer are not changed. When you attach a file to the chat, you can also change the permissions. By that I mean what people can do with the file. Choose the link below the file name and you'll see this new panel open up. and you can choose any of the options here to set who can use the link. And you can set what they can do with the file once they have it. Now in this case, I just want people in this chat to have permission to use my file, and I want them to be able to edit it, so I'll leave this box checked. Once a file is added to chat, you can react and reply to it, and anyone in the chat can view and edit it. Now just click on it and it will open up right there in Teams. Everyone in the chat can open it at the same time, and this is called co-authoring. Any changes anyone makes are saved automatically, and everyone sees them as soon as they're made. Now there is a great way to track all of the files that have been saved in a chat, and that's the Files tab. If I go to the Files tab in my chat with Polly, I can see all the files that either of us have shared at any time during the chat. So from here, I can choose to open them in Teams, in my browser, or in the desktop app. And I can download them to my computer, or I can copy a link and share the file with someone not in the chat. As well as sending messages and sharing files in chat, there are other ways to communicate. You can start meetings, share your desktop, and add other people. In every chat, you'll see the buttons you can use to start a video or an audio call, and you can share either a window you already have open or your whole screen. And there's one button to add more people to the chat as well. So in this example, I want to show Polly something on my computer screen. So I choose screen sharing, and then I choose my Chrome browser from the list of options. Now Polly can see my screen and we can discuss what she sees. Polly decides that we need Amrit to join us to ask his advice, and I can add him to the chat by using the Add People button. I type his name, pick him, and then choose Add. Now a new chat has opened with me, Polly, and Amrit in it. It has a new card in the left-hand panel, and the card is named after the people in the chat with me, so it's easy to find. If I choose the Add People button again, I can see who's there too and add more people. We decide we need to talk on a call to figure out this problem together. To do that, I can choose the Audio Call button. It starts a new meeting and then calls Amrit and Polly for me, and they can join, and now we're all in the call together and the discussion can continue. I'm going to show you how to create a new team. I need to create a team for my London-based collaborators. So to do this, I'm going to go to the Teams app, and I have a link down here to join or create a team. I have 3 ways to complete this task. I can create a team from scratch, from an existing group or team, or from a template. Let's look at each one of these in turn. First, from scratch. Now this allows me to create a brand new empty team with no channels or tabs in it. If I choose it, I'm asked whether the team is private or public or org-wide. Private means that only people I approve of can join. Public means that anyone can join without my approval. And org-wide means that everyone automatically joins. I want to control who joins, so I'll choose private. Then I name the team, and I'll call it London, and I'll add a description. Then I choose create. Now I can add my members. I just type the name of the people I want to join. Teams looks them up in my organizations directory, and then I can choose them. I can also choose roles. People are either owners or members. I'm going to make Polly an owner so she can manage the team with me. And when I close this window, you can see down here I've got my new London team, and it has just one general channel and it's ready to go. Next, let's look at the From a Group or Team option. This is useful if you already have a team and you want to copy it, or you already have a group and you want to add teams to it. When I choose from a group or team, the next choice is Team or Microsoft 365 Group. Now if I choose Team here, I'm shown a list of all the teams that I'm a member of. I can choose one of these to base my new London team on, kind of like a template. If I go back now and choose Microsoft 365 Group, it will show me a list of all the groups I'm an owner of, and I can choose to add teams to that group. Now I can only do this once because a Microsoft 365 group can only have one team attached to it. Instead of using a group though, this time I want to use my marketing team as a template. So I go back, I choose team, and then the marketing team. It will let me name my team London and add a description. And I can choose whether it's public or private. And then I get to choose what to include from the original marketing team. I can copy existing content and settings, including channels, tabs, and apps to my new team. I can even choose to add the members to by checking here. But I'm going to choose my own members, so I'll press create without checking that. Then I can add the members and set the roles. And now you can see my team is ready and it has the same channels and tabs that the marketing team had. The last option is to create the team from a template. Using a template is a time saver because each template comes with channels and tabs already added. Every template is based on a scenario that you might use it for. For example, we have manage a project or onboard employees and loads more. So I'm going to choose this manage a project template. Then Teams will show me what channels and apps can be added to my team. And if that doesn't fit, I can always go back and choose another template. But from here, if I choose next, I get to choose whether it's a private or public team. And I want to control who joins my London team, so I'm going to choose private. Then I'll add the title and description. And I get a chance to edit the channels here too. I'm actually going to change this announcements channel to social. Then I choose create. And this can sometimes take a while, so you might have to wait. But once it's done, I choose my members, edit the roles, and then I have my new London team, and it has the channels and the tabs included from the template. A channel is a virtual space in Microsoft Teams that you can use to collaborate in. Channels are where you hold meetings, have conversations, and work on files with your team. You can create lots of channels for different types of work, like projects or events. There are 3 types of channel: standard, private, and shared. And I'm going to show you how to create each one and explain what you'd use them for. To create a new channel, find the team you want to create it in, and mine is coaching. Right-click it, and then choose Add Channel. A standard channel is one that everyone in the team will be able to see. And I need to give my standard channel a name. And this one is going to be called Project X, and it's something my whole team will work on. So I'll add a description, and I'll leave the privacy setting to standard. That means everyone's going to see it in the coaching team. I'm going to check automatically show this channel, and that will make sure everyone sees it in their list. They can always hide it later if they want to. Now once the channel's been created, it has a posts and a files tab, and it's ready to use. Now let's create a private channel. Now this is a type of channel that you use when you want to have some privacy inside an existing team. You may want to work on sensitive files or have private conversations, but you don't want to have to create a whole new team to be able to do that. Now I need to create a private channel for a project I'm working on with members of my coaching team. So to create the new private channel, I find the coaching team, right-click it and choose Add Channel. I add the channel name, Project Y, and a description. And I change the privacy setting to private, and then choose Create. The next step is to choose the people that I want to have access to the private channel. I can only choose people who are already a member of my coaching team, and I'll add Polly and Sarah. I type the names and Teams will make suggestions and I can just pick them. Now I can choose roles. I'll make Sarah an owner of the channel so she can help me manage it, and I'll leave Polly as a member. Then I choose Done. And the Project Y channel is created and is listed in the coaching team. And you can see it has a lock icon next to it, so you know it's private. Only Polly, Sarah and I can see that channel. It has a posts and a files tab and it's ready to use. If I want to add more people to the private channel later, I can just select it, right click it, choose Manage Channel and then Add Member. The last type is the shared channel. Now this channel is used to share with people outside of your team, and it can only be used if you are an owner of the team. Now I need to create a shared channel for a project I'm working on in my coaching team, and I need Mark, who's not in coaching, to work on it with me. To create the new shared channel, I find Coaching, I right click it and choose Add Channel. I add the channel name, Project Z, and a description. Then I change the privacy setting to Shared. I can see that the Share this channel with everyone on the team box is already ticked. And that means when I create this channel, all of my team will be able to use it. I'm going to untick it though because I just want to share it with Mark for now. Then I choose Create. And the next step is to share the channel with Mark. So I do that. And then I can choose the role. And I'm going to make Mark an owner of the channel so he can help me manage it. Then I choose Done. Now, only Mark and I can see the new Project Z channel. It has a posts and a files tab and it's ready to use. I can also see that it has the shared channel icon next to it so I can see what type it is at a glance. If I want to share this channel with other people or teams later on, I can select the Project Z channel, right click it, choose Manage Channel, and then Share with People. Then I can add more people or teams as needed. I'm going to show you how to share files with your team in a channel. As usual, there's a few different ways to do this. I'm going to show you some of the best ways I know and explain why you'd use them. In a channel, at a minimum, you'll see the posts and the files tabs, and you can share files with both of them. Let's start with uploading a file to a post. I want to share a file with my project team. To share a file in a post, I can start a new conversation or I can reply to an existing one. I just need to choose the paperclip button and I'll see this menu. And this is the place where I want to get my file from. In this example, I'm going to choose Upload from my computer and I'm asked to pick a file. And I'll choose this project overview slide deck from my downloads folder. Then it adds the file to the post as a card. Now what it's added here is a copy of the original file. By posting this slide deck to the channel, I'm uploading a copy of it to the coaching team. There's no link between the original file on my computer and the file that's being uploaded to Teams. What's good about sharing a file in this way is that everyone in the team sees the post. And I can also add some text to the post to explain why I added it and what I want the team to do with it. I can even @mention if I want to bring the file to the attention of someone specific. For my project overview slide deck, I want to make sure that Amrit is notified, so I @mention him. He'll see it in his activity feed with the @ icon. Now Amrit can reply to let me know he's seen the file and knows what to do, and he can edit the file in Teams, in his browser or the desktop app. And everyone in the team sees the file in the Files tab in that channel. This time I need to share a file that's already in my OneDrive. I'm going to do that from a post, and I choose the Attach button again, and then I choose OneDrive. I pick a Word file from the Project X folder called Project Report, and this time, instead of uploading a copy, I'm going to share a link. Now that means that the file stays in my OneDrive, but it will still be shared with the coaching team. When I choose Share a Link, it adds the card to the post and shares the file with everyone in the coaching team. Once it's posted, you can see that it has a breadcrumb on the file card, and that indicates that it's actually still in my personal OneDrive. Anyone who sees this file in the post can click on it to open it up as usual, but if I go to the Files tab, that Project Report Word file isn't in the list. That's because it still lives in my OneDrive and I only shared a link to it. The last example of sharing a file with your team is to create a new one. I can do that from the Files tab. I just choose the New button, and I want to create a spreadsheet to track the budget for this project. So I choose Excel Workbook, name it Budget, and choose Create. It will open up that workbook in Excel inside of Teams, and I can start editing. Now, if I choose to close now, Teams takes me back to the Files tab, and I can see my budget workbook. Now everyone in the team can view and edit that file. Meet Now is a type of meeting that you can start from the Teams calendar. You'd use it for ad hoc meetings that you wanted to start straight away. So this is handy if you don't have time to schedule the meeting. To start a Meet Now, go to the Calendar app in Teams, choose the Meet Now button, and it will ask you to name the meeting. The default is always the meeting with your name, and you can change that if it's useful, but you don't have to. In my scenario, I'm going to call my meeting Project Decision. You can also get a link to share with the people that you want to meet with. So I can copy this link and paste it into a chat with Amrit. Then Amrit will be notified in Teams, can click on the link and join the meeting. It gives me the option to share it by email as well. That just opens up a new email from Outlook, and I can paste the link in and send it to whoever I want to come. Once I've started my meeting, I can add more participants. So from the meeting panel, I can type the name of the person I want to join. I want Polly to join, and I can request to join. And she'll get a call from Teams, and if she accepts, she'll be added to the call. Once you're in the meeting together, you have access to all the standard features that a meeting comes with. You can record the meeting, share content, and set all the meeting options. And when you end the meeting, you'll see any content you created, like the recordings, in the chat app. You'll see a card in the recent list labelled with the name you used for the meeting. I'm going to show you how to schedule a meeting in Teams. Meetings are scheduled from the Calendar app, and from there I just choose the New button from the top right corner. In the new meeting window, I give it a title, and this is going to be my team meeting. Now I add the attendees. And these can be people or groups in my organization. So I start typing the names I want to add, and Teams will make suggestions. I'm going to add Amrit, Polly, and Sarah, and the coaching team. If I want to invite people from outside of my organization, I have to type their full email address. Now I can add the time and date. And when I've done that, it will tell me when the attendees are available. And I can see here that Amrit isn't available at the time I've chosen. So if I want a better view of when everyone is free, I can use the scheduling assistant. To get there, I just choose the tab at the top of the meeting window. And here I can see all the calendars of the participants I've already added. And I can add some new ones. I can move the meeting to another date by dragging it into an empty space. And I can change the time by taking the side handles and dragging them left and right. And as I do that, it will update all the attendees and the location status during that time. And now I'm happy with the time and date, I can go back to the Details tab. Now this is a weekly team meeting, so I want it to repeat, and we're going to have it every Wednesday. So I click into the repeat drop-down menu and I choose weekly, and then Wednesday, and then save. I also want to make my meeting a channel meeting. Now I do this because it posts the meeting details and the join button to the channel. And it's just another easy way for my team to join the meeting. So I click Add Channel and I see a list of all the teams that I'm a member of. And I can expand the teams to see their channels. Now I'm going to choose the coaching team and the general channel. And I can only choose one. Now this will post the meeting details to the channel like this. And after the meeting's finished, it will add other useful info like the meeting recording. Now you can add a physical location to your meetings. So I have some meeting rooms set up for London and Manchester, and I'm going to choose London. I'm going to add a detailed description with an agenda. You can set your meeting details at the top of the new meeting window too. So Show As is usually set to busy, and you can change that to choose how you want the meeting to display on everybody's calendar. Everyone who accepts this meeting will receive the same status, but they can change it afterwards if they want to. Choosing private will hide the meeting title and description from anyone looking at your calendar. I can also set categories, the time zone, and choose the response options. There's also an option for requiring registration. This is usually set to none, and you can leave it like that because this option is really just for webinars. When everything's set correctly, you can send your meeting invitation. I'm going to show you how to set options for a scheduled meeting. I've got some tips on how to control what your attendees are allowed to do. So once you've scheduled your meeting, you'll see it in your team's calendar. To set more options, click on the meeting and choose Edit. If you're the organizer, you'll see the Meeting Options link at the top. Choosing Meeting Options opens a browser to the Options page. Here I can choose who bypasses the lobby. The lobby is a virtual space that holds attendees before they join the meeting. Meeting organisers and presenters must admit people that are held in the lobby. Setting this to everyone means everyone joins without waiting. This is the least restrictive. If you want to manually admit everyone to your meeting, then you can set this to only me. This is the most restrictive. And there are other options you can choose from to have more control over who gets held in the lobby. But for my meeting, I want to allow everyone in my organization to bypass. So I choose people in my organization. And with this setting, anyone from outside of my org will be held in the lobby until I admit them. This switch lets callers, and that's people who join the meeting by phone, bypass the lobby. And this one announces when callers leave. I'm going to set both of those to no because I don't want to allow callers to bypass and I don't want the announcement. A co-organizer is another meeting participant who has the same capabilities as the organizer. They can do things like manage who joins, turn the mics and cameras on and off, and manage the breakout rooms. I find it's useful to have a co-organizer to support me in a busy meeting, and I want to make Polly and Amrit my co-organizers. So I just type their names into this search box. And note here that the search box will only show you the people that you've already invited to the meeting. I can also choose who my presenters will be with this setting. Presenters are allowed to share content like slides and whiteboards. They can also mute attendees and turn their cameras and mics off. The least restrictive setting here is everyone, and only me and my co-organizers is the most restrictive. So I don't want everyone to be a presenter, but I do want Sarah to be able to present some slides. Sarah isn't a co-organizer, so I'm going to choose specific people, and then I type Sarah into the search box and choose her. Because this is a team meeting, I'm going to leave everyone's cameras and mics on. I want everyone to participate as much as possible, so I leave these two settings to yes. They can always turn their own cameras and mics off themselves if they want to, if they're having a bad hair day, or in my case, a no hair day. This toggle will start the meeting recording automatically, and this is useful if anyone misses it and wants to play it back. And sometimes I forget to start the recording in the first place, so I'm going to choose yes. Reactions allow your attendees to respond with emojis, and I like to encourage any kind of reaction during my meetings, so I always make sure allow reactions is set to yes. You can have a moderated Q&A during your Teams meeting. This will add an app to the meeting toolbar, and attendees can submit their questions and join in conversations through the app. Your co-organizers and presenters can moderate what's said. Now, I don't need a Q&A for my team meeting, so I'm going to make sure this is set to no. We can also use CART captions. Now, CART is a service where a professional captioner can translate the speech into words in real time. However, Teams already has a built-in live captioning system. It can automatically generate word from speech, so I'm going to leave this setting set to no. And finally, I hit save to save my changes. Joining a Teams meeting is easy, but there's lots of different ways to do it, so I'm going to show you all the ways that it can be done. First, from the Teams calendar, just select the meeting and choose join. And note that you can join a meeting before and during its actual scheduled time if you need to. Second, your Outlook calendar is connected to Teams, so you can do the same thing from Outlook. Just select the meeting and choose join. Next, if the meeting was created in a Teams channel, then you'll see a link to it in the channel post. Choose the purple bar and then join from the meeting window. This is just a shortcut to avoid going to your calendar. You can also join a Teams meeting even if you don't have Teams installed on your computer. When you get your invitation email, whether it's in Outlook or Gmail, you can join the meeting from the message or your calendar by pressing the join button. You'll then ask how you'd like to join, and if you don't have Teams installed on your computer, you can just choose to continue on this browser. And even if you don't have a Microsoft account, you can add your name and just choose join now. You can join a meeting using an ID, and to do this you need the specific ID and passcode for that meeting. These are always added to the description once the meeting has been scheduled. To get to the ID, open the meeting from your calendar or email app. In the description, you'll see the ID and passcode. If you choose the Join on the Web link here, a page will open up in your browser and you can enter the ID and code there. You can then choose to join with your browser or with the Teams app. You can do the same thing from the Teams calendar. Just choose the Join with an ID button and then enter the ID and code and join. And finally, the joining page is where you choose your audio and visual options before you actually enter the meeting. From here, you can turn your camera on. You can choose a background filter, and there you can blur the background, or you can use an image from the gallery, or even upload your own. If you go to the device settings, you can choose which camera your computer should use for the meeting. The Mirror My Video feature flips the video feed around on the horizontal like a mirror does. Teams can adjust the brightness of your feed with this toggle, which is good in low light settings. And if you'd like to take the rough edge off your appearance, which I often do, then toggle on soft focus. There is also a slider that controls how much focus is applied. You can turn the audio on and off with this toggle and use the slider to change the volume. And in the settings panel, you can choose which devices to use for your speaker and mic. Everything that happens in the Teams you're a member of is recorded in the Activity app. It's like the history of all the activity that goes on in Teams. Activity is an app that you'll find in the left-hand bar, usually somewhere at the top. New activity in Teams will update the red counter on the app, and throughout your day you'll see the red activity counter going up until you've reviewed the feed. Items in the feed are either read or unread, just like email. Activity will mainly come from other people's posts and will include other apps too, like tasks, approvals and updates. When you click on an item in the feed, it will open up a thread in the space on the right hand side and briefly highlight it so it's easy for you to see. You're going to see lots of activity types in your feed, and it's useful to know which ones to look out for. App mentions are probably the most important. If you are app mentioned in a post, it means that it is specifically addressed to you, and you probably need to do something about it. So for that reason, whenever you're app mentioned, you'll see a big red @ icon in the activity feed, and you'll see the same icon to the right of the post itself. There are lots of other activity types from posts like reactions and replies. And you'll also see activity when other people add you to channels or change your role on a team or a channel. You can filter your feed based on activity as well. So for example, if I wanted to see all the times I've been app mentioned, I can choose the filter button here and then the ellipsis, and that will show me all the activity types. Then I choose the app mention type and that filters the feed by mention. I can also filter on keyword. So if I just type Amrit here, that will filter the list on that keyword Amrit. And finally, I can switch this view to my own activity as well. I just drop this down and choose My Activity. This changes my feed to all the activity that I created, and it's a history of everything I've done in Teams. This time I'm going to show you how to find your files using the Files app in Teams. The Files app is a collection of files from Teams and OneDrive and other cloud storage. OneDrive is all your personal files, and Teams shows you all the shared files. To start with, the Files app shows them all as one recent list. It shows you the title of the file, when it was modified, and the location. Now I can sort this list by all the column names, and if we scan the locations list here, you can see there's a mixture of locations. This one here, for example, is in the marketing team and the general channel. And this one is from the coaching team in the Project X channel. And this one is from my OneDrive. You can open files from here as well, and here's a quick tip on how to do it. When I find the file in this list that I want to open, for example, this one from my OneDrive, I can click on it and open it up in Teams. Now if I go back to the file list again, I can also change the file opening behavior of Teams. If you'd prefer to open up the file in the desktop version of the app, go to the ellipsis here and it will show me the options available. Teams, desktop or browser, and Teams is the default. Now if I choose change default, I can choose desktop and then save. And now when I open the file, it will start that desktop app for me. And that will be the default behavior wherever I open a file in Teams. I can also filter my files based on the file source. In the views list, I can see that I'm filtering by recent, and I can switch that view to just Teams. Now this is showing me all my Teams files and who modified them and their location. So it's a slightly different format to the recent list. Here I can also view my downloads folder, which is on my Windows computer. Any downloads I make from Teams will be added to this folder. Now when I switch to OneDrive, I get more features. I can open files and folders as before, and I can create new ones and upload existing ones. I can sync to my computer, and I can change between list and tile view. And I can open the OneDrive app in my browser. In the cloud storage section, you can see I have OneDrive. Now, if your admin allows, you can also add cloud storage sources like Google Drive and Dropbox. I've added my Google Drive account here. There I have direct access to my files and I can open them and manage them. If I rename or delete a file here in Teams, that change will be made in Google as well. I can move or copy a Google file inside a Google Drive, or I could move it into OneDrive or any of the teams that I'm a member of. Google files do not show up in the recent list, however, and they don't appear in search results in Teams either. This time I'm going to show you how to find your files with the search bar in Teams. The search bar pulls results from your OneDrive and all the teams that you're a member of. You can use the search bar from wherever you are in Teams. When you type in the keyword, it will list some top hits in the dropdown. These are the things that Teams thinks you might be looking for. Then when you press return, it will list out all the results. And you'll see them grouped as messages, people, and files. Those groups are also represented as a row of tabs across the top here too. If you see the file you're looking for, you can click on it and open it here. And if you choose the More Files link or the Files tab at the top, the results are filtered by files only. When you filter by files, you'll see some more filtering options. For example, by team. I want to filter my results by the marketing team, so I just drop this menu down, I type marketing and then search. Then I can choose marketing and I only see files that are actually in the marketing team. Then I can also filter by type. Now I'm looking for a slide deck, so I choose PowerPoint from this drop down. I can also search for who last modified the file and the date. When I found my file, I can open it, and it always chooses the browser instead of any settings I might have made in the Files app. Here's a couple of pro tips for finding files with search. If you type /files into the search bar, you'll see a list of your most recent files. These are pulled from OneDrive and Teams. And you'll see the file name and the last modified date in the list. If you start typing the name of a file or any word from that name, it will filter the list by that word. And this is really good if you just want to quickly get back to a file you've been working on recently. When you open a file from these results, it opens in Teams. The next search tip is /find. This is useful when you want to find a file from a chat or a channel post, but you don't want to have to scroll through the whole of the chat history to find it. You can just type /find in the search bar, and then you can type the name of the channel or a chat. My channel is called Project X. And then you can type a keyword from the file name. That will return the post in the results on the left-hand side. And then choosing that will show me the file on the right-hand side.